Introducing the Vankyo CM7000 Commander Gaming Headset, which uses 50mm dynamic drivers as well as 7.1 surround sound to bring you a more immersive gaming experience. It has a premium build quality and an impressive eye-catching design, built with comfort and ergonomics in mind to give you a comfortable listening experience for as long as you need. It's a super versatile headset too, compatible for easy use on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, as well as smartphones and tablets, assuming your smartphone still has a headphone jack. Inside the box, you'll get, of course, the headset, the 7.1 USB surround adapter, which includes volume control, toggles for the microphone and LED lights, and the 7.1 surround sound itself. There's even a microphone and headphone splitter cable in case you opt out of using the USB adapter. A shout out to the folks at Vankyo for sending me this product to review, and as I always say with any game or product review of something that is sent to me, my opinions are still my own whether they sent it to me or not. I am not afraid to tear this thing apart if I feel like it deserves it. So this thing really does have a solid build quality. It's got nice soft ear cups with large indicators to tell you which side is which. It's got what I assume is plastic made to look like brushed aluminum, but if it is actually brushed aluminum, that's even more awesome for a $30 headset. What is made of metal is the strong metal frame on top, which is made to make sure that this thing is durable but comfortable. Just don't go flexing it too much because it is still a pretty thin piece of metal. The dark red, almost metallic looking plastic accents lend to the premium look, and the red LED light is also a really nice touch. But don't let the grills on the outside of the ear cups fool you, they're just for looks, this is not an open back headset. And you gotta love the respect for the Vita because in the page that shows how to set up the headset for different devices, they included the Vita, which is just awesome to me and they get some brownie points for that. It doesn't affect the actual way I feel about the headset, but they still get some brownie points, which are worth nothing in real life. Now while the 7.1 USB adapter does have volume control on it, if you're not using it, for example playing on the Switch, there is a volume knob on the back of the left ear cup so you can at least control it that way. On the downside though, as far as voice chat, there is no mute button outside of the one that comes on the USB adapter. Now this isn't a huge deal because you can just use this on PS4 or PC. As for the Xbox One, you could always use one of those headset adapters that plugs into the bottom of the controller, which I don't have. But that has a built-in mute switch so that at least takes care of that for Xbox One. Now as for the Switch, well, I mean, Switch uses a phone app to do voice chat, so I don't know. What's disappointing is in this era of modern gaming headsets having retractable or at least removable microphones, this one is neither of those things. It's just on there and it kind of sticks out like an eyesore, so if you're planning to use this as a normal headset to listen to music, which you can, just know that that microphone is always going to be sticking out. Also, the plug that you plug into your phone would have a USB kind of just dangling around, so there's probably better options if you're just looking for headphones. Now, I really do like the design of the headset. It's one of the things that caught my eye when I was asked to review it, and part of what made me agree. I really wanted to try it out and see what it was like. It does cross just a little bit into that gamery look that a lot of the budget gaming headsets on Amazon suffer from, in my opinion. It still does kind of maintain a sort of a normal headphone appearance. That's something I've always preferred when it comes to picking a gaming headset. I prefer the ones that don't look like a gaming headset. That's why I'm such a fan of headsets like the SteelSeries Arctis series, because it just looks kind of like normal headphones, and it has a retractable microphone that isn't going to stick out if you're using these out like on the bus or something to listen to music. Which is part of why I think the microphone just sticking out on this thing and not even being removable is sort of a big negative for me personally, for my personal tastes. But if it's not something that would bother you, then you'll be fine with this. Alright, so this is a test of the microphone for the Commander headset. I forgot to test it out while I was on camera, so I'm just going to put a nice picture on the screen. Look at that one. Whoa, can you believe it? I can't, because I don't know what I'm going to put on screen yet, but whoa. How about this one? Can you look at that? Wow. Anyway, I'm not doing any kind of post-processing or effects to the audio from the microphone like I would with the rest of the audio in this video. This is just the microphone on its own, basically how you would hear it, or rather how other people would hear it if they're playing with you, with the only exception being probably turning up the volume, because from the small waveforms I can see on Audacity here,
It looks like it's going to be pretty quiet until I turn it up.
Now, as far as fitting, it uses this popular suspension system where it has like the little stretchy cable thing so that it fits on your head perfectly without having to actually physically adjust it. It's a design that, as far as I've seen, became really popular with some of the older SteelSeries headsets. There's one I used to have that I don't remember the name of, but I'll look it up and put it on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. The Arctis series does use something similar, but you do have to adjust this band manually in order for it to fit comfortably, whereas this doesn't need any of that. You just put it on and it uses gravity to do the work. When I first tried the headset on, it gave me this nice ooh feeling because it was much more comfortable and lighter than I was expecting just from holding it. You just put it on and you don't feel it. It's not squeezing your head like some headsets might do. Note that the red LED on the side of the ear cups only works if you plug this USB into a USB port, either the one on the 7.1 USB adapter or just directly into your computer. Speaking of the 7.1 adapter, this works with PC and PS4 and nothing else, so if you're buying this expecting to get 7.1 surround sound from your Switch, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. As a result, the red LED isn't going to work on the Switch or the Xbox One, but at the end of the day, it's just a pretty light that you won't be able to see when you're wearing the headset anyway, so it's not that big a deal. In my opinion, it's up to you how much you care about the light. Now, visual design is an important aspect of picking a gaming headset or just any pair of headphones, for me at least, but none of that is as important as how it sounds. You are buying a headset because it makes sounds in your ear. That's why you buy one of those. So how do the 50mm dynamic drivers in the headset actually stack up? Pretty well, actually. Well, for a $30 headset. If you're going to compare these to some of the higher end models, you're probably going to notice a difference. Now, my go-to gaming headset in the past couple of years has been the SteelSeries Arctis series. This is a more recent Arctis 3. I also have an Arctis 5, which is in a box somewhere, but I do have the USB adapter that you can use for 7.1 surround sound that is included with the Arctis 5, and this can plug into that just the same as the Arctis 5 does, and it has the same exact drivers as that headset. Now, what I did first was I compared the Commander and the Arctis 3 on my Nintendo Switch, plugging directly into the headphone jack and playing in handheld mode, and while there wasn't that much of a difference at first, I was able to tell that there was a little bit more of an advantage on the Arctis 3. It was subtle, but it was there. And the same goes for plugging the 3.5mm headphone jack into the PS4 controller as well. Wasn't that big of a difference, but the difference was there. Now, where I really started to hear the difference was listening to music. I plugged both of these headsets into my Pixel 3a, listening to music digitally via Amazon Music. And with the Arctis 3, it sounded really nice and clear for digital music. I mean, it's basically what you come to expect if you use a digital music service and listen to it. It just sounded, I guess, normal. However, listening to those same songs using the Commander, I noticed there was a loss of clarity and a heavier distortion in that headset. With the Arctis 3, I could very easily hear various, like, guitar riffs and whatnot in the background in different ear cups depending on which one they were playing through, and it was very easy to distinguish that from the rest of the music playing on the song. With the Commander, I had to really kind of try and listen for that to hear it, and it all kind of just felt like it was all meshing together. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it just felt a lot more noisy and busy, whereas this felt a lot more clear and natural, and you can really tell things apart. Now, when gaming on a PC using the 7.1 adapter, it did take me a little bit of time to notice a difference, but there was a difference as well. So I had the Arctis 3 plugged into the USB 7.1 adapter that's included with the Arctis 5, and I played games like No Man's Sky, Overwatch, and Far Cry New Dawn just to test things out. At the same time, I had the Commander headset plugged into the 7.1 adapter that's included with it, and I went back and forth between the two. And there is a noticeable difference. There is a noticeable tinniness on the Commander, which is kind of unfortunate. The game that I was mostly able to notice the difference in was Far Cry New Dawn, simply because of the dialogue. When using the Commander, if an NPC was talking to me, it kind of sounded like the voice actor was using a crappy microphone, whereas with the Arctis, it just sounded normal and clear like you'd expect from a video game these days. There's also a scene toward the beginning of Far Cry New Dawn where you're walking through a shallow river, and I was just kind of standing around, sloshing around in the water, listening for the difference, and you can hear the clarity coming from the Arctis. It's just so much more clearer and felt so much more natural and spatial, and just it felt like you were kind of standing in a river. Whereas with this, it sounded like you were listening to an audio file of a river. That's the difference basically that I'm telling you. So it's not bad, it's just not as clear as something that's more expensive, which I mean, that's sort of to be expected. Now, the 7.1 surround sound, the adapter has the 7.1 button in the middle that if you press it, you can toggle between having the 7.1 on or off. The only thing it felt like is that when I had the 7.1 on, the game just got a little bit louder. Other than that, it didn't feel like I suddenly went from sort of flatter sound to 7.1 surround. Now, as far as the fuzziness and the distortion, at least when using the 7.1, the manual does recommend turning down the volume knob on the headset itself and using the volume control on the USB adapter to adjust your volume and hear it. That way you get more clarity. I feel like that did help a little, but only a little. It was still tinny compared to something like the Arctis. Now, I wanted a second opinion because I wasn't sure if maybe I was just wrong, maybe I was just not able to really tell things apart when it came to the 7.1, so I had my wife actually test it out. She's also very familiar with the Arctis 3 and Arctis 5, and in addition to that, she now uses a Razer Kraken V2 headset, which also has 7.1 virtual surround, and so I had her test this headset while playing No Man's Sky and comparing the two, and I didn't tell her what I thought I heard. I just let her see what she thought, and then when she told me, she said exactly what I said, that the Commander is fuzzier and more distorted, that the 7.1 doesn't really seem to bring a difference, it just makes it seem louder, and it's just not as clear as something like her Razer headset that she compared it to when she tested it out. If you're out there and you don't have a better pair of headphones to compare these two, you're probably fine. The only time you might really notice some tinniness is if you're playing a game with a lot of dialogue. Other than that, if you're just gonna run around blowing stuff up, it's okay. You might only notice if you're like a hardcore audiophile, but if you are, you're not going to be using either of these headsets anyway. Sometimes I do believe with a lot of products out there, just in general, you are at times paying for the name when you could save some money and get equal quality of something that doesn't have a big famous brand on it. I just don't feel like that's the case with the Commander. Yeah, we are comparing a $30 headset to, $60, $80, $100 headsets that we have here. But I have also compared budget products on this channel to other higher end products and gotten fairly similar results, whereas this time, it's just not quite there. If your takeaway from this video is that this is a bad headset, it's not at all. It's a $30 headset. You just gotta go in there with the expectations that you're spending $30 on a headset, this is what you're gonna get. As I often say with these review videos, when it comes to dollar versus quality, it's up to you. If you value your dollar and you just wanna spend a little bit to get something that's gonna be decent, go with the Commander. Otherwise, if you really care about quality, you're gonna have to drop a few bucks, but you can go with something like the Arctis 3 or the Arctis 5 or one of the better Arctis headsets out there, because the Arctis line is pretty great. Or do whatever you want, I'm not your dad.